What's good, guys? It's TSG. In today's video, we're going to be having a look at the patch notes that have just come out for Private Beta 2. We've been waiting for Private Beta 2 for so long. We finally got the patch notes. There's so much to go into. And with me today to do that, I've got Frobei and Vetemor. What's good, Frobei?
Yeah, very excited to be there, and I read the full patch with also all the details on each Illuvium, so definitely a lot of changes, but we're going to make sure that it's going to be simple to follow today.
Yeah. We're just gonna touch on it real quick. Vetemor, what's up, man? What's up?
I'm just here to be the comic relief, just hanging out. Yeah, just here to be the resident council member.
Yeah, I thought you were like the pro player. I thought you were gonna come in with all like the heavy details and shit like that.
No, I'm just analyzing, and then I'll show you on the field. You know, 1v1.
I mean, yo, you know, I have got a bit of practice already.
Exactly.
All right, cool. Yeah, let's not waste any time. So essentially, we're not going to go through the entire thing. The link will be in the description below for anyone that wants to check it out. We're just going to hit like the big changes and leave the rest up to you. I'll probably make some videos in the future, but that's that. So they've got something called dominant synergies and dominant like attributes. So when you bond them together, for example, like a Malura, even though it's a nature and an earth, its dominant synergy, I believe, is earth. So if you bond. Yeah, so when you bond with him, it brings out the earth bonding, which is the whole thing. We won't go too deep into that because we don't know too much about that. But I think that's going to be an interesting thing for us to have to learn. So the next thing, actually, we're talking about bonding here. So we can now bond our ranger with an alluvial to gain a dominant synergy, so we can get one of their affinities. Oh my gosh,
affinities.
Yeah. So we can link up one of their affinities as well as their class. So we can, like, again, last night we were playing around and practicing in the Illuvium voice, and we got to see what Bloom looked like. We got to see what Mud looked like for the first time. Shock. We actually even got Shock out there just to see what these things look like. So that's super exciting, and I think it kind of opens up the game in a whole another level, just because we're able to, like I say, like have invokers. We've already had invokers, but Bloom, Colossus, like all of these different things now open up because of this. Like, are you guys super excited about this?
Yeah, to make it very to sum it up very easily, it's like one big limitation we had on Private Beta 1 is the ranger was limited to a class, a primary class, and a primary affinity.
Yeah.
Now we can turn the ranger into a composite class and a composite affinity.
Yes.
And thanks to that, we can actually unlock a lot of bonuses which were just unavailable before. Because yeah, we had 2 magma units, but we didn't have 3 magma units. So now maybe we can have 3 magma units and unlock the new bonus, or we can have that new tsunami with 2 tsunami with Axodon and double Ratter on ranger, which was impossible before. So I think this is very exciting because it can increase a lot of first of all, we can try a lot of affinities we couldn't. Just that, I think, is exciting, but also after, it's all about strategy. We can increase the depth of strategy behind.
Yeah, agreed. What are your thoughts when it comes to bonding, man?
I agree 100% with everything that Frobei said, and I also love the fact that we get to, like, as far as I'm concerned, the ranger is the best unit at the lowest cost. And suddenly, not only is she like this amazing unit, but we get to pimp her with a composite and okay, whoa. like upgrade. It's a bonus. Yeah. Come on. With a composite, and then she also gets the perks of that composite, right? So imagine like Cephorus and your Titanor, you've got double Granite, and then the Rangers also got Granite, who was already a sick tank. Like, that's insane.
And
That's
then
just
they
sick.
get Colossus as well. Like, that's what we were running the other day, like Granite and Colossus. We had like 3 Granite, Colossus. It's just, like it opens up the game, man. I think with all of this bonding and everything like that and augments, I think the skill floor is actually lower because it's easier to try different things out. But the skill ceiling is actually higher as well, which in turn actually adds to the replayability of the game. Whereas I feel like it's been mentioned before, and I think it was your video, but previously it was like in Private Beta 1, it was like one meta. Like, this is how you play. Everyone's kind of playing it that way. Whereas this now is like, man, I could play it a different way than Frobei. Frobei could play a different way from Uvet. And we can all technically still get to wave 40, which is so exciting because we're gonna find out what's the most. It's just crazy.
Yeah.
So augments are finally here. Obviously, 50 augments are available, which is like a lot. Like it's a lot. And essentially, augments are things that you can like. The thing that's exciting about augments, you add them to your alluvials and give them a passive ability, whether that be vampiric, which means that you have lifesteal, whether that be extra tankiness, so it kind of builds resistance to physical or energy attack, whatever. There's a whole bunch of these things. Maybe it gives extra attack speed to the people around you, so on and so forth. There's a whole bunch of these passives. But not only that, you actually get to boost 2 of its stats as well. So you could boost like the attack speed of something and the omega damage, whatever it is. So you have not only the passive ability, but the actual stat boost as well, which again just changes up. Like if we thought Scariox was crazy back then, having a Scariox with like a vampiric plus like 2 attack speed and 2 omega power, like yo, he's just a machine. He's not like a rocket launcher anymore. He becomes like a machine gun. It's crazy to see. But what do you think, man? Forever. I'll go with that first. What do you think about the augments, man?
Yeah, I definitely want Frobei to go a bit deeper on his thoughts on them, but I actually wanted to ask you, TSG, when it comes to, because obviously you've played, when you're using them, there's 50. Obviously, you don't get 50 every day on the deck, but how easy is it actually for you to quickly be able to understand within the time limit, what do my augments do, and sort of start thinking about them, easily being able to recognize them by the symbols? Like how easy is that, like coming into it?
It's not super easy. I won't lie about that. Like it takes some time. I was super blessed by streaming. People kind of like that played TFT would be like, oh, this is sunflower seed or whatever the TFT name is. And they kind of recognize it quickly. They'd be like, yeah, Frobei, it's like whatever.
Sunflower seed? I never heard
that.
It's
just like, there's a TFT alternative. And they're like, oh, this is this is that. So they'd recognize it immediately and kind of tell me, yo, you should do this, you should do this. But you can actually also just look at the colors of them and kind of understand that, like, oh, the light blue is the support augments. The purple ones could be more like tanky, or like it's more about sustain. And then the orange one is more for actual like attacking offensive. So offense, defense, and support, pretty much. So you can kind of understand that, but like it'll take a bit of time to actually remember what the names are and shit, unless you're really putting in that time. I'm kind of just playing it for fun, so yeah, I haven't really like studied it like that. But yeah, Frobei, what are your thoughts with the whole augment thing, man?
Well, I think overall, from the first impression I have the list under my eyes, and when I look at the effects, so I don't even count the additional stats, they look overtuned in my opinion. I think, but maybe it's desired by design. There's no problem with that. I just feel like we can transform any Illuvial into a monster if you put the right augments, because they just have so much impact. When we look at some Illuvials, let's look at Seer, for instance. Its clear weakness is that before it spins around, it is squishy. It can be one shot, like in 5 seconds, right? So now if you put a tanky augment on it, you remove that weakness. And now Seer can be a monster. And by doing this, by understanding each Illuvial strength and weaknesses, and putting the augments in a way that either cover the weakness or boost the strength, you can create a monsters. And that's why I believe that after some time, most players will be able to go very far, up to wave 40.
Right. Yeah, I won't. Again, that's why I'm excited for when they make it like unlimited. I like the fact, maybe because I'm not like a pro player, I like the fact that we can turn them into monsters, because it's like super entertaining. Like if you know that you can turn any alluvial into a monster, is any of them really like overpowered? If anyone can be overpowered, are they really overpowered then? And like when you watch like a Scariox kind of just going crazy, it's so entertaining to watch. Or like a duel of just one-shotting. Like obviously, and the thing is, like, I don't think that from what we've seen and played, nothing is unkillable. So that's the thing. It's like there's always a counter to it. So no matter how monstrous they get, there is still a counter to it, which I think that's where the fun is going to be. Because if you have like a monstrous like Axodon and you have a counter, which is a monstrous ripe lance or some shit like that. And kind of like you're just watching two like beasts battle. It's crazy, like to see it. That's my opinion.
I just want to add one element is that everything which is balanced right now is balanced around Ascended Arena, so PvP, which is not here yet. So
yes.
So it also makes sense that it's not relevant for survival mode. And it's true that when we can decide how to make the best augment on the best Illuvial, in front of us we have random Illuvials with random augments. So in that case, we will always have an edge compared to the waves in front of us because there it's completely random. But for us, we made the right decisions. And that's that gap, I think, which will make the survival mode easier. But of course, in PvP, like you said, everything will be flattened out. Like I have overpowered deck, he has an overpowered deck. So it all comes to how do we play it.
Yeah, exactly. So the next thing that's added, and this is one of my favorite things that's added, is the interest. So 10% of unused mastery points will be given as additional interest. So before in Private Beta 1, we would get a flat 25 mastery points every round. Now it's cut down to 20 plus the interest. And I think this is so great. And me and Dick have talked about it. It's like, the first couple of waves, we're trying to just get past with just the Ranger. And we'll die so many times because we're trying to see how far we can get without spending any money. But I think like it changes the whole game because instead of just putting all of the like overpowered things straight away, like I know Frobei used to play Titanor on the first wave.
Yeah, I'm not going to do that anymore.
You're not going to do that anymore, exactly. And I think that's so exciting because like you're really trying to push yourself and really trying to understand and like find out what beats what. I think it's a whole For me, that's my favorite thing that's come into it. But what are your thoughts, man? Because you can't. That takes away your strat. Titanor is no longer a viable option.
It's fine. It just feels like I'm coming back to TFT. So very similar, right? Trying to make the best comp possible with the least resources, and get to, because like it isn't right. It isn't written here, but it's 10% rounded down, meaning that if you have 55 mastery point, is going to give you 5 more mastery point next turn, not 6.
Yes. Yeah.
So the idea is always to try how to reach the next threshold while having the best comp possible to beat the wave. I think this is going to be fun. I just have a question. Maybe you know, maybe you don't know the answer.
Yeah.
Is it capped, meaning that like I cannot earn more than 5 mastery points that way per turn, or like I can go up to 20 mastery points if I have like 200 mastery points unused?
Yep. If you have 200 mastery points, is that 10% of 200 is 20? Yeah, I believe. Yeah, shut the fuck up. I think I don't think there's a cap. I don't think there's a cap, but I'm not 100% sure. I mean, we can test it out. We can test it out after this, to be honest.
I doubt there's a cap, and I feel like they would have mentioned it.
Yeah, I don't think there's a cap. So if you don't use it, I do think that you get that. Yeah, Vet, what do you think about the interesting, man?
All in all, I think it definitely adds replayability, which is brilliant. And to my knowledge, the less mastery points that you use in the overworld, the greater chance you have also of catching Illuvials. Yes. So this is staying true to being a practice mode, whilst also, having that competitive element of a leaderboard. And it's also preparing us a lot more because, like, for the overworld and for the full game. Whereas I felt like PB1, we were really we learned how to solve a specific puzzle, and then everyone was just rinsing it. And there was no other solution almost. There was a meta, and that's it. And like just repeating that meta didn't necessarily prepare you better for the actual real experience that's coming our way.
Yeah, I think Private Beta 1 was good because it introduced us to the characters, the mechanics, things like that. Like we understand what an Midoriya does. We understand what these things do. But I think Private Beta 2 is actually where we're going to start to develop skills and strategies and tactics and things like that. So the next thing is the time allowance has changed now. It starts at 40 seconds in competitive and increases 5 seconds. I know there's a bit of a discussion about this, about how, it's getting too easy. I personally like it because someone like me where I don't have like with all these things, bonding, augments, there's so much to consider now that a minute might not be, like when you're late in the game, it just might not be enough. And I think it scales up in a way where it's nice enough where you still have pressure of like, you need to still be thinking and you can't just be like, oh man, let me just sip on my drink and chill out. Like you're still focused, but it gives you enough time to actually think about it. So I'm all for it. I don't know how you guys feel about it. Are you guys on the for or against with this one?
No, definitely. I'm for the. Sorry, go ahead.
I'm sorry for a bit. I'm personally big up for it just because I when I first got the game PB1, I didn't know that you could get on the leaderboard with casual, so I just played competitive. And I remember being on like waves 15 to 25. Any of those waves, I was literally like looking for 10 seconds intensely, and then I was moving like everything.
Yeah.
And it's like that plus having to like calculate your it's just it's not right, and it makes sense that it scales up. Definitely.
Yeah. Frobei, your thoughts?
Yeah, I think it's great. It's healthy. I would just say that we might see something, and I hope it won't change. I mean, okay, so the idea is like at the beginning of Private Beta 2, I think most people will feel like it's too short because there are a lot of new things to consider. New, like just reading all the augments we will have in a deck will take the 40 seconds in the first round, right? But I don't want this to be the standard for 1 month later, because after 1 month, of course, we'll know these augments, we will know the Illuvios and all of that. So the 40 seconds will become normal or even too long, maybe. So I think we have to consider that there is this bias. I know on TFT, for instance, whenever they launch a new set, they add a bit more time during planning phases. And then after 1 or 2 patches, they remove that additional time because they know that players got used to all the new units, all the new effects, and so on. So I think this is something that we might see as well with the timing.
That'd be cool. That'd be really cool. All right. So the next thing, I don't think we need to talk about it too much. I think it's a pretty simple thing. Checkpoints. So after every 5 waves, we actually get checkpoints now. And so that just means that, like we said, we've mentioned it before about being able to play the late game, the mid game, and actually getting that practice in. For all of us, we're busy as hell. So like, I'm not gonna lie, I didn't actually play Private Beta 1 after a while, like unless I was streaming, just because I had shit to do. And there's no way I'm gonna spend 30 minutes getting to wave 15 and then dying and then starting from wave 1 again. Like, people have things to do and bills to pay. Like, I just wasn't doing that. Whereas this now, actually, again, like I said, I've been testing it out and it's been fun, man. Like, I'd get to wave 15, I die, and guess what? I get to wave 16, I die, and then I'd be able to play back from wave 16 onwards. So essentially, when you beat wave 5, the checkpoint is from wave 6. So you need to beat every 5th to get the checkpoint for the wave after that. That's how it works. And so you have unlimited checkpoints in the training mode, which is cool. I think that's a really good way to really test things out and learn things. I think it's really changed the whole thing completely. And like you say, you're pretty much having unlimited like late game runs, which is really cool. So you get that practice. And then competitive, you have 3 checkpoints if you get past wave 5. I don't know if you guys want to add anything to it. Obviously, it's this is the biggest quality of life change that they've added to it. But Frobei, if you want to add anything, feel free.
Just a detail to make sure that I don't think we talked about that. It's just that now, for sure, the casual and competitive mode won't be in the same leaderboard. Actually, casual doesn't have a leaderboard anymore, and casual doesn't show the same deck as competitive mode. Actually, casual takes the deck from the previous day of competitive mode. So it's like if you didn't manage to make something you wanted last day, you can train it the day after as much as you want and get better at it. So thanks to these changes, it allows the opportunity to put checkpoints on every 5 waves, from my understanding on casual mode. So you can
every wave on
every wave. Then after you can just enjoy, play peacefully, learn a few things, try to spend more time reading augments, effects, and so on, and just like getting polished for the next day.
Yeah, casual mode is sick, man. There's no time and unlimited like checkpoints on every wave. it's really calm. Vet, do you want to add anything with checkpoints?
Checkpoints, obviously, huge quality of life. I actually didn't know that, Frobei. The on the casual mode, you get the previous day's deck. I think that's brilliant, man. Because if you were confused about certain things or couldn't try stuff, like that's actually just blown my mind. That's made me even more excited. That's great. It says it here, right? Yeah. So these are the 2 things that we kind of just touched on. So training mode now isn't on the leaderboard, which is sick. I think it's cool because, and again,
the changes to timing in competitive actually allows people like myself to be competitive. Like we're having this competition internally of who's like number one, like me and Dick. That's why you see us streaming and going at each other. It allows us to actually play competitive in a nice way as well. So that's cool. Like training is just training, competitive is just competitive. I love that. I think that's the way it should be. And then over here, like you say, training mode no longer uses the competitive deck. So again, you can't just go train, screenshot, go into competitive. Yo, I'm the best. Like, no, you're not. Like, relax. But I think the idea of using the previous day's competitive is a nice way, like, again, to kind of correct your mistakes and understand how you can optimize things. I think that's really, really cool. And the final thing that we'll touch on is the improved enemy spawning. So I didn't know this, but there were just like a set amount of spawn points in Private Beta 1 that then, oh, I didn't know that. So apparently, so now we've kind of like increased that, and there's more spawn points, there's more variety to it, and it just adds like another layer to the gameplay, and you can see it already in how they're reacting, and how the enemy wave spawns. It's just
actually that was the pain point. I reported to Aaron directly because there was an issue. If you look at Private Beta 1, there was, if you go at let's say late game waves, where the board is almost filled with all individuals, right? They were always like at the same distance to each other. So and that would never change. Like, and the problem was like for some individuals like Archilion, who heals a lot, who gains the value if he has a lot of allies around it, the value was just never good almost. So whenever you face a wave with Archilion, Archos, Archie, you just know that it's easy to win, right? Another stuff that was bothering is like, we had a unit that's called Dualef. Dualef likes to attack packs of units, right? But there was never any pack in front of us. So that's why Dualef was really, really difficult to play on our side. So I think with this improved enemy spawning behavior, we'll be able to adapt better positioning. It's going to be much, much more impactful and rewarding when you position correctly or when you play a key unit correctly.
Agreed. Bet, do you have anything to say about the spawning stuff?
And also that it will feel a lot more like if you're even playing against a real life human being, the way that sometimes they might place. I've seen multiple rounds, and it actually is starting to look like maybe a person could have placed that, and I won't be like, that's not insane to consider that. Whereas before it was like, oh, this is a free wave, like the dumbass, you know, like why? Why have you done that? Yeah.
And yo, by the way, speaking about Dualef went from my least favorite of all, like in gameplay wise, to my most favorite. Like, yo, he is crazy now. He is crazy. But guys, that's kind of it. This video was still much longer than I thought it was gonna be. But I mean, as usual. But yeah, cool. Yo, I appreciate you guys coming on, man. Frobei, Bet. Hopefully we're gonna get Private Beta 2 in the next day or two, and we can start playing it together. I'm probably gonna stream in Discord right after this, so pull through and we can chat shit. But guys, is there anything you guys want to say? Any last words before we head out, Frobei?
No, actually very exciting to see these healthy changes, in my opinion. Also, like very eager to try to do my beta tester job, meaning like making a lot of constructive feedback, finding bugs, all of that. I think it's also fun in some ways. So very eager to start that.
Awesome. Bet, last words before we go play.
As a council member, I think that we should respect this man's desire to be a beta tester. We should give him access to Private Beta 2 right now, and also to myself while we're at it.
Oh my god, yo. All right, anyway, yo, guys. You guys. But yeah, pretty much I'm sure most people watching this video know who Frobei and Vetemor is, but if you don't, follow them in the links down below. They've got channels. Check that out. But anyway, yo, guys, thank you guys for watching. As always, like, subscribe, hit the notification button, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace.